All right, thanks for joining us. We are here live with Amber Sims and Brooke Watkins from our Social Security Disability team. Amber, you'll know from our previous broadcast, but you may not be familiar with Brooke. Brooke, tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been with the firm?
I've been with the firm for about 5.5 years. It'll be 6 years in January.
And have you always been a case manager for our Social Security clients, or were you ever in a different part of the process?
I was actually in a different department. When I first started, I came into reception, so I did that for a little while, and then I transferred into another position, completing as a workup specialist. I completed workups for the attorneys, and then I transferred into the case management position, and I then became a non-attorney rep.
Okay. And how long have you been in the case management position?
Case management for about 4 years.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. And Amber, how long have you been doing case management?
It'll be 5 years in July.
And for those who don't know, Amber is actually our case management team leader. She's also a non-attorney rep. And Brooke, actually, I want to go back to you for a second. Just tell everyone a little bit about you. Like, what do you like to do for fun, and what kind of hobbies do you have, and all that jazz?
Oh goodness, I'm pretty boring actually. I like to hang out with my kids and play bingo on weekends.
Oh, I find it hard to believe that you're boring. You're a lot of fun to be around, of course.
Thank you.
Amber, anything new going on with you? Any plans for summer? Anything fun?
Running with the boys for baseball. That's pretty much my life, is baseball mom.
Yeah, that's still fun.
Yep,
You
definitely.
see a lot of the world that we're, at least of the country. And
Yes.
you told me you're getting ready to celebrate a 5-year wedding anniversary.
Yes, I am, in July as
When-
well. So.
Anyone you want to say hello to real quick?
Hi, Jacob.
We know he's a fan of ours. So once again, guys, if you have questions, please do not hesitate to ask. We're going to be happy to answer those for you. We do have a few prepared ahead of time, and we're just going to go through those real quick. I'm going to start here with Miss Amber Sims. She has the first question today. And Amber, I know you're going to know the answer to this one because, like you said, you've been doing it for so long. And I just want to know real quick. I studied communication in school. I have a master's in corporate communication. So I'm always curious to see like what kind of barriers come up. So what are some communication barriers that come up when applicants see their doctor?
Some of the biggest communication barriers that we see is where a client is diagnosed with a condition or starts experiencing symptoms. They explain these symptoms to their doctors, but unfortunately the details in which they've discussed with their doctor don't actually make it into the medical records. So that creates some issues because the client might really have severe impairments, have a tremendous amount of symptoms. We don't have the documentation to prove that. The medical records, that's your evidence in your case. So it is crucial that you stress to your physician that, this information must be documented in my records. Because trust me, if it was that easy for Social Security to take our word for it, they would on just about everything.
So there's a lot of like communication apprehension with
Yes.
their medical providers.
Yes, not always. Sometimes that's just where the documentation is essential in the case. We have to have it. You have to be vocal with your doctor and really break it down into details as far as, if you're struggling, for instance, if you go out and cut the grass, fine, you might be able to cut the grass today, but how long after you go out and mow your grass does it take for you to bounce back, basically? How many days does it take you to recover from being, in pain, discomfort, things of that nature that definitely need to be told to your doctor?
It's funny, there's a commercial right now for some national drug. I'm not sure what it is, but one of those ones we see all the time. And it's a woman at her doctor's office, and her conscience is telling her to say the truth. Like, say what's really bothering you, and she's just like, oh, I'm okay. And I think a lot of people struggle with it. I know personally I do. Any tips for people when they go to their doctor, like what they can expect or what they should do?
Yes. I am a person that has gone to the doctor before for myself or my kids, and I think of a whole laundry list of things that I want to talk about. I get to the appointment and totally forget to ask. Really good idea is to write this stuff down. If you're speaking with your case manager and they're giving you feedback and information on things to touch on, write that down. Take it to the appointment with you. That way you know that you can check it off the list, that you've discussed it with your doctor, and it gives you peace of mind that, hey, I communicated to them what I need and what I expect. And that way it just is it just works. It works better for everybody that way. It's documented. We have the proof, and we get that to Social Security.
And I've always told people, like, the doctor's not likely to have not heard what your issue is before. They've been through years of medical school. They've seen thousands of patients. You're not going to surprise them by any means.
No, not at all. I'm sure they've heard it all. So.
So yeah, just always be yourself on that fun stuff.
Absolutely.
And just
don't be afraid to be detailed.
Yeah.
That's the thing. The doctor doesn't know unless you tell them. So.
All right, good question. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, so we're going to switch now to Brooke, and Brooke is a wealth of knowledge. Even though she might be a little nervous today, I think she's going to do great. But I have a question for you that someone asked me the other day, and I want you to just, if you could, just tell us a little bit about what your opinions are on this one. Mental health is a big issue right now. It's becoming more and more mainstream. We're seeing a lot of talk on the news about it, and a lot of our clients, wouldn't you agree, have mental health conditions?
Oh yes, the majority of them, if not all. I mean, it's a very high percentage of our clients that do suffer from mental health conditions.
Okay, so with that in mind, I have this next question for you. What are some of the biggest mistakes that people can make when pursuing a mental health claim?
Great question. Some of the mistakes that clients can make is just the fact that when you go to the doctor, you kind of have to swallow your pride and be honest and open with the doctor at all times and let them know what you're experiencing, what your conditions are, what your symptoms are, and get that official diagnosis. You may call into us and say, well, I'm experiencing this or this, but we need that actual diagnosis. And those medical records, like Amber said, very important for your case. We want to see that information in there, as well as consistent treatment. Treatment is very important, and being consistent with that, it helps great with mental health. Also, making sure that you don't give up if you do receive a denial. We will fight for you. So make sure that you don't give up. Continue with your treatment, as that is one of the most important part of your claim.
And it's probably safe to say there's a stigma attached to a lot of mental health conditions too, and just probably wise for our clients or anyone watching this, don't let that hold you back from getting your treatment, correct?
Oh, correct. Exactly. You don't want to let anything hold you back from treatment. Like I said, I can't express how important those medical records are for your treatment, and to be open and honest with your doctors. Like I said, sometimes you have to swallow your pride. I know the majority of our clients have worked all their lives, and this is not what they intended on having to do, and some of them you have to, and when they come to us, we want to be able to help them. So getting that information or getting the diagnosis in writing is very important. I know a lot of people can be diagnosed with one thing, take medication, and they can go to work, whereas others can be diagnosed with something and basically lock themselves in their room for days at a time. So it's not necessarily just the name of your condition, but your treatment, as well as how this condition is affecting you. So mental health, we need those records as well. It's very important to get that treatment.
Yeah, one last thing I want to bring up too, just because my history in the VA department especially was, we would tell people to find treatment that works for them. A lot of people are worried about, I don't want to take medication because might make me a zombie or whatever. Would you encourage people to work with their doctor to find maybe alternative treatments that might work best for them?
Absolutely. Working with your doctor is the best advice we can give our clients. They are there to help them. And if one medication may not work, then always you can try something else. What might work for one person may not work for another. So definitely I encourage them, work with your doctors. Like I said, they are there to help you. And counseling, therapy, not just medication. That treatment is very important.
Okay. All right, guys, we're back. And Amber, how Brooke do for her first question? How do you think she did?
She did great.
See, you were nervous. You had no reason to be. You know what you're talking about. You've done this for 5 years.
Are we hard?
Yep. Okay. She did great, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we are just having lots of fun here, asking lots of questions. And we're going to switch it back now to Amber, who has also a wealth of knowledge. And I think you're the right person for this question because when we are on the front end of a claim and someone's asking us about their history or even how the process works, they ask you, when should I apply for Social Security disability? And at times that can be a difficult question to ask because if you're still working, there might be some caveats to that. So, Amber, when is the best time for someone to apply for Social Security disability?
The best time to apply is the sooner the better, truthfully. The day you apply for benefits or the day you initiate an application for benefits, you then are given a protected filing date, which preserves the date in which that you can be potentially paid. And it also just go ahead and it gets the ball rolling. The longer you wait, the more time you're losing. This is a pretty lengthy process. So as soon as you know that you have a diagnosis that is, it's definitive, you're not going to be able to continue working, or you're going to be put off for work for a year or longer, definitely want to go ahead and initiate that application. Even if you're denied the first time, it's getting the process started. Not everyone's going to be approved the first time or the second time around. Most cases have to go to a hearing in front of an administrative law judge. But if you are approved once you go to your hearing, that protected filing date, which is the day that you filed your application for benefits, that's when you start to receive benefits. That's when you start to be eligible for payments. Depending on when you're approved, there's a couple different technicalities in there, but the sooner the better. You don't want to lose out on money. You don't want to miss out on time. Like I said, I can't stress enough. I always hate to see situations where somebody waited to apply and they get approved way before, they give them a date that they established that they were disabled. Sometimes 2-3 years before they applied, and it's a real shame because then they've lost money. So,
and Amber, I got a follow-up question to that. I think maybe the reason why a lot of people don't apply is that they're worried it's going to be a difficult process. So first question and a follow-up to that is it difficult? And second, is there ways that we can help them with the initial application?
It is difficult. It is confusing. They don't teach you Social Security in school, so that's why you come to professionals like us, and we can definitely help you through the process, guide you through the process. We're your advocates. We do the talking, we do the legwork for you, and we also educate you on the process so you understand why we are doing things the way that we're doing them. It's really just we try our best to educate and communicate with the clients so they understand what's going on. There's going to be times where there's gray area where we don't have a ton of information to provide somebody, but know that definitely we're always working hard on these cases. I can't stress enough that getting whether it's us or a different law firm if you don't live in this area, getting help or assistance with your Social Security claim is really the best route to take, just because it is so confusing. There's different technicalities. You're not going to know everything, and having someone that can help you through the process and actually just support you, that's just having a support system is great as well.
And it's true to say that not all law firms will help from the initial step, correct?
Correct. Some law firms will wait, let you go through the process the first time, even the second time, and once you go to a hearing, get to the point where you can request a hearing, then they will step in and help. We actually help clients at all levels, simply because it's just as confusing at the initial application as it is if you go to a hearing or to the appeals council. Just having somebody to explain what's going on and basically do the talking for you is a huge help.
Oh, good point. That's a very good answer. All right, so we are going to take a quick 30-second break, you guys. If you have any questions, if you're watching, if you have questions, please do not hesitate to type them below. You ask us. We've been doing this for a long time. We're happy to answer those questions, but we're going to do a quick 30-second break here. We'll be back on the other side, and hopefully you have more questions for us.
If you've been involved in a car accident without the right attorney on your side, insurance companies can be hard to deal with.
No, we will not cover that.
Totally unacceptable.
No, we are not responsible.
Wrong again.
No, you're being unreasonable.
Really? I'm Jan Dills. And if you've been involved in a car accident, insurance companies are going to tell you no.
No, not covered. No, we will not pay for that.
That's why you need an attorney that won't take no for an answer.
All right, we are back here with our live Social Security Disability Q&A. Once again, we have Amber here and Brooke. And we have a few more questions here for everyone who's watching. Once again, if you do have questions, though, please do not hesitate to ask We're happy to answer those for you. But I want to shoot it back to Brooke now because I had this question come up the other day. I was actually, it's a question I had, not from a client of ours, but from me personally. Something I get confused by quite often is the request for reconsideration. And I personally struggle to realize what that is. So would you mind telling our viewers what a request for reconsideration is?
Sure. A request for reconsideration is after you have received your initial denial. That's the first denial with Social Security. We will then file a request for reconsideration. We're asking Social Security to reconsider the information, take another look, and find you disabled. So with that, we'll file the appeal, request the reconsideration, and a new disability examiner at Social Security will be assigned to your case. So basically, it's like a fresh set of eyes looking at your claim. And this is the second step with Social Security. So many times we have people approved at this level. So that is our next step. It takes about 3 to 6 months to get a decision at that level. But the reconsideration level is just as important as the initial level, getting your application started. With the reconsideration, of course, that second set of eyes looking, we still collect medical records. We still update your examiner. Those records are very important. Again, we're asking them to take a second look and reconsider the information and find you disabled.
You mentioned that medical records are so important. It's a good idea for people to let you guys know also when they've seen a doctor, when they've been to emergency room. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. That's very important. Call us, email us. Whatever type of communication works best for you works for us. Just let us know. That's all you have to do. We don't ask you to get your own medical records typically, unless we have some problems getting them for whatever reason. But we will request them. Just let us know what doctors you've been to. It's as simple as that.
All right. Well, thank you, Brooke, for that one. That's a very, very informative. I feel like I learned a lot personally myself from that one. And Amber, I got one last question for you because we haven't had anyone ask yet, or at least from what I can tell, we haven't had anyone ask. If you're watching this later, please ask questions in. We can always use them for our next Facebook Live. We do this every month, or at least we try to do it every month. But I have a term I want to ask you about, compassionate allowance. I hear this a lot because I sit next to our intake team, and I think I have a vague understanding of what it is personally, but I feel like you can probably explain a lot more in detail about what compassionate allowances are and how they affect Social Security claims.
Yes. A compassionate allowance is basically a severe diagnosis that you have that more or less expedites the process for you. Social Security is aware that it's crucial that they make a decision on your case because these are pretty severe conditions, different types of cancers, different congenital disorders that children are born with, things of that nature that definitely need 100% attention and as quickly as possible. It's very similar to the medical listings that Social Security uses to find someone disabled. It just means that they work a little bit faster because of the seriousness of that condition.
And I actually looked at the list. There's a list, right?
There is a list.
And I was surprised by how long it was. Because I thought maybe it was just like a few issues, but
Right.
Is it how many do you think are on there?
I'd say at least 100, 150 maybe. There's
And-
several pages on the website.
And it's pretty detailed. It's not like an overview, because one thing I thought about when I read it was it's not every type of cancer, for instance. It's only specific kinds.
Specific kinds.
And it also depends upon like how far along it is.
Yes.
Correct. Okay.
Exactly. Yep. And a lot of, like I said, a lot of the stuff on there as well is congenital disorders that something you're going to have for the rest of your life
Yeah.
that is going to, warrant you the ability to have the disability benefits.
So it's like most serious conditions.
Yes.
Those won't be like
Absolutely.
my back issue, for instance, or
No, and not to say that those aren't severe conditions, but these are pretty serious. One that I dealt with recently was thyroid cancer that had metastasized, so it's pretty serious cancer that spread very quickly. So Social Security, they knew they needed to move very quickly on it.
All right, well, I'm going to check real quick to see if we have any other questions. We do not. All right, well, thank you both for joining us today. We're going to do a quick 30-second intro for our Facebook Live for VA Disability, and then we'll see you on the next live broadcast. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
You never thought it would end this way. You served with honor. And now, to fight through bureaucratic red tape, like a nameless, faceless number instead of a person. To feel invisible, like everything you gave was worthless. If you're a veteran fighting to get the benefits you deserve, we can help. I'm Jan Dills. I've tackled government bureaucracy for more than 20 years, and we won't take no for an answer. You fought for this country's honor, and it would be an honor to fight for yours.